just when I thought things couldn't get a little crazier and wilder up in the scenarios of this show, it's proving me wrong each and every single time. Welcome back, y'all, to the DeAndre Way. I am your host, DeAndre, of course, and we back with the Trust Episode 2 recap. We gonna get into it. We gonna tell y'all the things which y'all missing and the things that need to be said and what's really going on. Woo! Y'all, this episode, I mean, look now, the trust. So, look, I'm upset with the way that Jewels just went out. It's unfortunate my brother had to step out the game like that. He was misjudged, he was led astray, and he was sent packing. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see much of him, but the show must go on, and we're gonna see what else these people got to unpack. This is an interesting format, like I said in the first episode. New things going on, new people doing new strategies. This is it's not a blueprint. I think to navigate this game, you have to put your faith in other people. This isn't a game where you can put things in your own hands at all. There's no real safety. There's no real true teamwork on 100%. You always have that slight doubt that someone could vote you out. And just, you got to be, you don't know if you could say the wrong thing around somebody. And that's tough. That's a tough way to go because you want to it's a TV show. You want to be entertaining and whatnot, but you also don't want to walk on eggshells. I wish some of the shows had more ways that people could be themselves and not have to worry about everything that they say because they might get voted out based off the smallest thing. That's kind of what's holding some of these personalities back some because several people, have huge potential to kind of put themselves out there, but they're being held back by the game itself. And there's no way the game could save them at this moment in time. But that's what's popping right now, y'all. So we gonna get into it. So, starting episode 2, the trust amount is $255,000. Winnie asked the girls who would they be comfortable with having at the end, and basically only mentions all the girls that they're cool with having at the end. So no guys. I don't understand this whole guy bashing era that we're in. Men are this, men are that. I think there's definitely something wrong with that. Obviously, me being a guy, I'm gonna think that this, if vice versa, this wouldn't fly. So why is it cool with all the guys being bashed over nothing? Pretty much, is it making any sense, ladies? We always shown respect towards you. We're always putting you first. Can you help us out and meet us in the middle just a little bit? Just a little bit. It's just a lot of guy bashing, and for what? For what? You guys say you don't need us. We're this, we're that. What happened? Who hurt you? I don't get it. But when he said this was a wake up call, she said this was a wake up call to the guys, saying they can't be laughing and holding hands and pinky toes and thinks nothing's gonna happen and nothing's gonna get shaken up. Well, yeah, she's right. uh, you can't do anything. You can't do anything. I mean, you ladies have formed this women's alliance essentially with five of you, and essentially all six of you, but for the most part, it's showing five of you. And, the guys can't be shown together or else it looks like a boys only club. But you ladies have the same thing going on. So there's a little hypocrisy going on in here, but we gotta just recognize what's going on. We gotta recognize this. I mean, take everything else out of it and just look at things for what they are. There's a men's alliance and there's a women's alliance, and Jake and Julie have their little showmance going on right now. That's the only intertwining of men and female relationships that's have crossed paths. I mean, they don't even really have like a spoken agreement to our point of view at this point either. So it definitely is interesting in the fact it's gotten so sexist from the groups. It seems. I'm not saying I don't think it's intentional per se. At least looking from the men's point of view, it doesn't look intentional. Just kind of it happens. The two guys in the military. Okay, of course they're gonna be cool. They can relate to a lot of experiences together. The two black women, of course, like they can relate to certain experiences together. But outside of that, I don't understand what's the barrier holding everyone the men and women from collecting and making like their own individual groups. So very, very interesting on that part. They're discussing and saying that 20K 20 to 25K isn't that bad, plus everything that they have to benefit along being with stars of the show. So the girls, the ladies, like, look, the money we got ain't bad. I can make that shake. We'll get some other things going on after the show. That's right. I wouldn't be mad about having 20, 25K when this is all said and done. It could be a way better. It's definitely you have high earning potential, but you're looking at the positive right now, just in case say the show ends tomorrow, this is what we got. It's cool with that. I'm cool with that too. I would be fine with that. But this is only the second episode, so we got a lot more work to do. Brian is still shook, and his ability to trust people is shaken, but he needs to bury the fears of his distrust of people. So Brian, the honest Abe of the group, he's feeling upset about everything, and I can co-sign with him. He went in there a little, I think, the show naive to the point of thinking everyone was going to be kumbaya, this and that. That's not the nature of the game. That's not the nature of the show. If you don't really watch these shows too often, you can and in your first time going in, you can kind of be susceptible to being fooled easily into thinking people have your best interest at heart, which is not the matter of fact. It's a solo game at the end of the day. This is not a team game. As much as it seems like it isn't. And people are out there for themselves. You guys just met. It hasn't even been a week since you've known each other. So it's hard to put that away because you're with each other 24/7. So you feel like you've known each other longer, but it hasn't been much time. And definitely you gotta learn to separate the two. It's hard. It's really hard. I mean, me doing Squid Game, it was very hard to kind of, realize, oh, I just met these people. But you have to do that because when things are said and done, you go home and whatnot, you're not the first, second, third, or fourth person on their minds. Just got to put that in perspective. Jake says the way to win the game is to build relationships, even if you don't like the people. That's correct. You got to talk to the people who you normally wouldn't in real life. You got to get out your comfort zone. You got to step in different rooms. You have to give people compliments and uplift them when that might not be out of your, personality range type, especially if you're an introvert. You got to do these things. When you're at work and you're around your boss, you got to uplift them. You got to make them think that they're the most important person in the world, because that goes a long way. Sending text message. I had a friend teach me this a few years ago. He used to send me text messages with all explanation points and emojis and smiley faces. And I was like, oh, this is really great. Like, we have a great connection. When in reality, our friendship wasn't that great. I was just fooled because the person did a good job of making me feel important because of these subliminal things that they did. And that's what basically Jake is pointing to us to do. So, a good trick. It's hard to do it because you got to drop your ego and pride a little bit, but it definitely can go a long way. Definitely can. Lindsay says the pandemic changed her and her husband's relationship and things got very toxic. She decided to live in an apartment without having her kids with her. So Lindsay has an open heart moment with Jake and a couple others about her home life, about her marriage, and the troubles that she was having in the past. And it's a vulnerable moment. It's one of the first real vulnerable moments we see, and she opens up to the full extent and is trusting these people to have her personal information with them. Uh, I believe that's fine. It's good to open up. You have to in this kind of environment. It's hard to keep everything intact, especially if people's asking you about your home life. But I believe that it's a lot for some people. In a good way, though. In a good way. It's a lot for everybody, just having these moments, but it's important. So that's nice of her to see her, share these moments with everyone. They keep selling. So throughout the show, they keep showing this nice pool, the pool along the water, and I'm just like, oh. I live in New York. Yeah, almost everywhere in the United States, except for maybe Florida, is cold as hell right now. It's freezing. It's snowing below freezing temperatures. This pool in this show coming out at this time when it is so freezing in the United States has just got me envious and upset and me needing some relief because I am dying for something like that right now. They're throwing this pool in our face. Brian apologizes to Tolu for cursing when Jules got eliminated. Because when Jules got eliminated, he's like, "Fuck this," and got up and walked away. He's recognizing, like, look, this little thing might have set her off, which is very, very. I give him high kudos for that because he's being very self-aware at this point. Because he didn't really do anything that bad. He just got upset and walked off. He didn't point it at anyone in particular, but he might recognize, look, this woman, she could take anything the wrong way. And so let me just make sure I'm good with her because she's a big influence in the house and could spread that around. So big, big props to Brian for doing that. Julie is trying to gain Jake's trust and once his Julie's trying to gain Jake's trust and his wants and belief in her is solid, but he's not gonna fuck up the fantasy of being his dream. He's not gonna fuck up the fantasy of him being her dream guy and vice versa. And maybe one day get her if she shows him what a good guy he is. I know that's a mouthful, but basically, look, Julie likes Jake a lot. She's thirsty right now for him, and she's ready to have that open box up. Like, look, Jake is a good looking guy. Julie's a good looking girl. They look good together. I think when you have two people who they have good chemistry, it seems so far from afar, and we don't get to see everything in between. But there's the only person around, and they're very attractive. It's very hard. It's Temptation Island up in here. It's turning into that real quick. Jake's kind of acting a little bit like it's too hot to handle, where you can't. He's trying to watch a step now. I don't like you trying to watch a step now. Look, girl, we ain't getting money for all these. We ain't here for that. But it's we're on a beach. You're on an island. Drinks, the beautiful view. It's a very romantic setting, 24/7. I don't blame them for getting like this, especially Julie. I mean, look, it's just the setting kind of makes the mood itself. And you not being around that many people, not being very many options, that's just how it is. So kudos to them, man. I'm down for the cause, coach. I want to see some action popping off, if you know what I mean. They soon get out to the terrace, and then there's this beautiful brunch for them. Apparently, Gasper has never had brunch before. Come on, brother. You ain't had brunch before, and you live in Staten Island. New York is brunch city. That's what they call it. There's a brunch. People have brunch every day of the week. So when we gonna have to have brunch sometime, bruh. I mean, I know you've had it finally, but it's a real thing, and it's a nice thing. If you ain't got nothing to do for the rest of the day, and you ain't got too much responsibilities on a Sunday per se, get you some brunch, man. You're gonna be feeling real good to get the week started. Simone soon talks about how her husband left her for another woman, and during the process, he was getting back with her, going and leaving her constantly. That she kind of lost herself in the music with the divorce. So very sad story. You hear Simone open up about this, and it is tough. I'm not married per se or have been in a divorce, but opening up about that is not easy, especially to strangers. And you can see with people opening up about these secrets, they're really getting comfortable with around the people that are there. And so it shows you the connection that they're forming. Like I said before, and I'll emphasize this, you are on this island, beach with 10 people. That's it. That's it. And so you get to know them really well all day. No cell phones, no internet, no TV, nothing. Just you and your being in full time. So that definitely is showing a effect on why people are opening up, getting emotional, this, that, and the third, because you don't have these distractions. You don't have these vices to keep you distracted on other things. So if people are getting kind of confused on why is everybody getting, so emotional, this, that, and the third, it's a little more emotional than I would expect, but you have nothing else. If you're used to letting your steam out playing Candy Crush on your phone or getting on Instagram and doom scrolling or YouTube, you can't do those things. So you're letting it out with other people. And if you're not used to that, it's going to let out more emotions than you could possibly imagine. Julie asks Bryce, does he think he deserves to be there more than she deserves to be there? I don't know what kind of question that is, Julie. Uh, That's not it. You can't really answer that kind of question. I don't think that's a fair question to ask someone. But then again, she is, I think, sussing him out because of the whole millionaire thing that was revealed earlier. And everyone's looking at Bryce, obviously, like they didn't think he was the millionaire for no reason. They have their reasons. So she's probably has a hunch and she's seeing what he has to say and seeing if he's gonna expose himself in the moment he wanted right here. But he doesn't really answer the question. He lies about working a commission field, making only $23,000 a year. Understandable. You can't expose yourself. If you're a millionaire here, keep it to yourself. Don't say nothing. So definitely, I'd say he had the right track of mind here, but it's definitely sitting with him a little bit that he can't open up to these people because in his normal life, he can open up. And Bryce says his friends and family don't know how much money he makes. I don't know if I believe that. He says he's a humble person at heart and he's just as deserving as his fair share as everyone else in the house. Now, look, look, look. This is a tough subject. Bryce is a millionaire. He's 22 years old. This man has had a silver spoon in his mouth since the day he got out the womb. He's a third generation realtor. That means his grandfather or grandmother was a realtor and they got into the housing market. Therefore, they were able to buy property and build their family fortune essentially. I don't believe the fact that his friends and family don't know how much money he makes. Maybe his friends don't know the amount to an extent, but he's wearing all this expensive luxury designer stuff. He definitely hangs around with other people who got money, so they don't really probably care how much he makes because they know he makes enough to be fine. There's no way he hangs out with people who make a significant amount less than him. And his family definitely knows. I mean, if he's the type of dude to be honest with all these strangers right off the bat, of course he's gonna be. I'm sure he's honest with his family about how much money he makes, especially his parents. Like they know his mom probably got him the job. That makes no sense. So that's major cap and crunch right there. Um, he definitely is. I understand the fact that he don't want people to know how much money he makes, but at the same time, you have all this money. You're applying for this show to win money. I know the experience. You can't really buy that experience, but in his case, you can buy it. You can go to a vacation island and experience these things. The one thing you can't buy is the gameplay format. You can't buy being in a TV show on Netflix. That's just not something you can purchase. So in that aspect, I do understand where he's coming from and why he thinks he deserves his fair share. But fair share revolves to money, mm-mm, not at all. I think the people who need the money should be there. Now, it's not a moral game. This is not anybody can win the money. I don't care if you got $1 billion and somebody has $10 to their name. This is not a moral game. And that's life, unfortunately. The rich keep getting richer and the poor stay poor a lot of the time. But in this aspect, in this specific game, that's complete. If that's fair of him to be able to say that, it's completely fair for somebody to not want him there because he has all this money. So it goes both ways. You can't be a hypocrite and say, I deserve this. Well, then somebody deserves to take that away from you too, because what makes you deserve it more than anyone else, and what makes anyone else not being able to be there deserve it less than you, and they have just as much advantage to take it away from you. And I'll just leave it at that for now. Julie says if people have kids, they deserve to be there more than her. And she explains how she was homeless growing up. She had a very rough upbringing. She didn't know where her next meal was going to be. She came here through the mud. She went through it a lot and it was tough for her. We don't get specifics per se, but we definitely get the emphasis of her having a rough upbringing and her having no money and she had to fight, claw, scratch her way here. Now it is kind of tough to see that, I guess, a beautiful girl having this troubled upbringing. We see her and look by the looks of it, it looks like she's doing great just by the exterior looks. Because when someone's good looking, we can bypass the fact that if they had a troubled upbringing. Not to say that if you're not attractive, then of course you've had a troubled upbringing. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying with a beautiful woman like that, it's tough to visualize you having an upbringing from an outsider point of view. It can be tough, but definitely she's been through it more than pretty much most people on the entire cast. And she's really pushing it down to the fact of, hey, look, like I've been through this, that, and she's even being selfless to the fact of saying Simone or Jake or anyone with kids, they deserve the money more than her. So that's really an honest, big selfless act. I know some people are jumping down Julie's neck about certain things, but if you look at that comment right there, she's being completely selfless. I mean, I don't know if she's talking to talk right now, but that speaks volumes to me. She also talks about how she was in foster care. So she said her and her sister would eat food out of the garbage. She said she had to learn how to make friends so she could shower in their house and eat a meal. Wow. Episode of opening up for everybody. But that's tough. Yeah, it's that I had a couple friends like that in school where they wanted to come to my house just to be able to have a meal or take a shower and whatnot. Not that they were in foster care or anything like that, but their just home life was very tumultuous and tragic. So I feel for this girl at this moment. She definitely deserves this money in regards to what's really going on in real life. She opens up and explains how everything came to be and how she has to had lived her life to this moment. And it's tough. I definitely can see why she's so against this millionaire being in the house because it just doesn't seem fair in the least bit of how they would even get the chance, the opportunity to be here when they already have everything that they want and they have it made on a silver platter already. And she's had to fight, scratch, and claw her way for everything to get here. And she still has a smile on her face. I'm with you on that, Julie. I'm co-signing with you on that one, girl. Get the millionaires up out of here, man. They already got enough money. And by the looks of it, Bryce gonna keep making more money and more money. You're 22 years old already, millionaire. If I was him and seeing all this and hearing all this, I probably would evict myself out the game. Forget the experience. This is life for these people. This isn't just an experience for these other people. This is their real life, and that could completely change everything. And you're here standing in the way of all these stories that you're hearing and all this tragic and hardship because you want to have a good time. I don't know about that one, coach. Soon the host pops up. It's time for another test. The next test is for them to rank themselves lining up from least to most depending on the question. So these tests are kind of like challenges, but they're not. There's no monetary stakes on certain ones per se. So this one's kind of just spicing things up in the house a little bit, adding a little flavor and pepper to the burger. So the first one is to rank yourselves from smartest to least smartest. And the girl says, the girl says she has a ranking system. The girl says she has a ranking system depending on who she's going to invite to parties. Julie says she has a ranking system depending on who she's going to invite to parties. That's fair. I do too. I'm not inviting everybody to the party. If you cool with me, you going to the party with me. If you have been, you've been lame to me lately, you ain't coming nowhere with me. I got some issues going on with that right now. Cause some people acting up and they on the block list and they got to get themselves out the doghouse. Julie feels some type Julie feels some type of way with Jake in front of her in the smart, non-smart line, and she thinks she is the smartest. And she thinks he has no emotional awareness because he started out life in a better place than her. He's a white dude, blue-eyed and good-looking. Um, I can I see where she's coming from again. Um, Jake, I can see why he thinks he's the smartest. He has a military background. He said he knows how to fly helicopters and whatnot, and all these other amazing things that are actually very important. Say you're stuck on a desert, stranded island. He's probably the one person who knows how to get the shelter up, put a SOS out, get food, all these other things that are very practical. And in his mind, that's what's most important, and that's what kind of shows how smart someone is, and his education too, as well. And so when my father was in the military, and they teach you more how to, it's a survival, and that's kind of what makes you smart rather than just reading books or in what kind of job you have. So I see why he would think he's the smartest, but she has a point on on in this kind of game, you don't want to proclaim yourself to be the smartest, or in most certain circumstances, you don't want to seem like the smartest person in the room because then people are going to look at you crazy. People are going to completely judge you. And you just got to be aware that look, even if you are the smartest, then you have to be smart enough to know that to not let everyone know that you're the smartest. I wasn't a big fan of him jumping out front because that immediately put a target on his back. It's like, oh dang, like you're kind of like, hey, I'm the smartest guy in the room, and then everyone else is gonna take it as, well, wow, you think you're smarter than me, and even if you are smarter than them, people get emotional, and people they don't like being told that they're not as smart, even if they aren't. That's like saying, oh, if someone's overweight, they don't want to be told that they're overweight, even though they are. They don't want to be told that they need to go on a diet, even though they need to go on one. People don't want to be told to stop drinking so much when they drink all the time. Like, it's a lot of things. So that's just a person to person thing. I don't think he realized what this was. And I think he kind of maybe thought it was more so like, oh, like just be honest with ourselves and who's the smartest, not in a malicious way. It didn't look like it was in a malicious way or trying to brag a certain way. It was kind of just like, look, who's the smartest? I think I'm the smartest in a kind of in a somewhat naive point of in a naive way in general, but I don't think it was anything bad. Uh, but when it comes to a guy with the, you know, in today's day and age, the demographics of Jake, good looking guy, tall, blue eyed, whatever, white guy, it can be taken a different way. It can be taken a different way. I think everyone in this kind of instance needs to drop the egos just or drop the conspiracies just a little bit and the judgments just a little bit. It can look like one thing, but it's not as deep as some are making it seem. It's not that deep. This is not the battle for America. This is not the slave trade. This is not the fight for Wakanda. This is just a game. And I don't think he's thinking he's better. Oh, because I grew up this way. I'm white, tall, blue-eyed. I think it's just a little overstepping and a little bit like, this guy thinks he's better than me because he's white and blue-eyed and whatnot. I don't think it's all that. I don't think it's that deep, y'all. There hasn't been any behavior or anything said to prove that theory is true. I just think it's a lot of projecting at this moment. But I can see how this looks. It's not the best look, Jake. It's not the best look from a whole point of view type of thing. Especially with you got to know your audience too. So Jake, you just gotta know your audience a little bit. So maybe it wasn't a wise idea to be in the front, but I don't think there was malicious intent. Bryce says he's not gonna fight with people about who's being smarter or less smarter because he's already a millionaire and he knows he's smarter. Bryce, you ain't the smartest one in the group. Period. Just because you got money and sell real estate does not mean you're the smartest. So I'll check that first. Two, but you are being smart about not wanting to be in the front. I do. That is very emotional awareness. But him growing up as Gen Z, he's around that probably. He's grown up being susceptible to those emotions of people and how today's day and age are. So definitely smart on his point of view and how he's able to flow with that and just put it to the side. That's what Jake should have did. He just said, put it to the side. And be like, I'm cool with this one. Next line order is to see who's the biggest leader and then who's the least strong leader. Jake doesn't want to give his top spot for either line. Jake, now this one, Jake, you not the first one. You should have gave it up this one. I think it's not a good look to say I'm the leader and I'm the smartest. This can look a little egotistical. This can make others seem like, oh, you think you're this good and this big a bag of chips. You the big grand lay size of chips and we just the small package kind. I think he should have gave up his spot for this one for the people. And it's just you got to do it for the people in this certain scenario. I know you probably think this, and that's fine. That's fine. But to save yourself, you should have just gave this one up, set it on to the side, and be like, I'm a slide on this one, coach. But he stays in the front, and Jake says it's comfortable for him being a leader. You know, I was a leader in the military. I've been a leader my whole life. I've been taking care of business. What's the problem, guys? But other people don't see it that way. Other people are very thinking like, man, this man's cocky, and he definitely. I don't think he should have stayed up there. That wasn't the best move in my eyes. Soon, the Jake, everyone says, or Jake says to come next. Jake tells Brian to come stand next to him, and they're trying to figure out the line order, but eventually Jake stays in the front. But soon the host tells Jake to come stand next to her, and she said she's gonna name a category and he's gonna put everyone else in order. So it's like, oh snap! You want to be the leader? Here you go. Woo. What comes with with comes great. What was it? What's the saying? With comes great responsibility. With comes leadership. Comes great leadership. Comes great responsibility. I don't know the saying, but you get what I'm saying. He's he's in some hot water right now. It's getting real hot and spicy up in there. And I ain't talking about the spicy tuna sandwich. So he puts the first line order he needs to put together is who's most loyal to least loyal. Ugh, it's gonna get ugly quick. He puts Brian, his best friend in the game, first, then Winnie, Tolu, Bryce, Jay, and then everyone else. It's kind of like even, he says at the end. Julie is back talking a lot and has a lot to say, and it's like, oh, you think that I'm not loyal? You think this? You think that? And Jake, he done fucked up at this point. This is not the position he wanted to see himself in, and it is an impossible position. He had to make a list. It's not like he could just back out of this, and it's making it so what we don't see is like it seems like there's like a time limit because he says later on like oh, only had 10 seconds to make a decision. We don't get to see that. It looks like he has how much time as he wants. So I don't know if there was a stipulation, but we don't get that. Now, there's two sides to this, two sides to every story. It's fair for everyone to feel some type of way about being put last. If I was put last, I was like, wow, okay, that's what you feel. Okay, well, I'm gonna remember that. But it's also, you gotta understand if he explains to everyone, look, guys, I had to do something. It's nothing against you guys. This is just what I wanted to do. What he should have did was put the people he was least closest with at the front and his friends at the back. That's what he should have did. He should have succumbed to the people who he maybe didn't think that was most loyal and make them feel like the most loyal because that's how you get everyone in the palm of your hands. That's exactly what he should have did. But I don't, like I said, I don't know if there's a time limit or not. So with that time pressure, you're just trying to do what you think is right. But all morals go out in this game, and you just kind of got to self-sacrifice the ego a lot for other people in this game. This is a game a lot about sacrificing your pride and ego and putting it to the side. It's a lot of that. But that's what he decides to do, and Julie is not happy about this. He sends Jasper to the top, and then Lindsay gets mad because Jake's puts her at the bottom. And they had a meaningful conversation about her family earlier, as we explained, and she is pissed because she exposed herself to him, and he's just supposedly shitting all over her with his person placement, according to her. I see where she's coming from, but it's not that deep. Nobody's going home because of this. I don't think it's he didn't diss her directly, but I see where she's coming from. I see where she's coming from. Jake has to know and understand talking to all these people. Look, this person's gonna get more mad than this person if I put him last, so I need to put him up front. But I just don't think he recognized that in that moment in time. So that is what it is. And Jay says he's disrespectful because the way he treated Julie during this. And he said he had to take people's emotions out of the decision making, but it's difficult because everyone is super emotional in the scenario. I think the opposite. You got to put people's emotion in the scenario because since you know they're super emotional, you have to think of that first. Brian's probably the least emotional out of everyone, and he would have took it the best if you put him at the bottom. Same as Bryce. They wouldn't have cared. Same as Gasper, he wouldn't have cared. And you knowing that, how everyone's emotional levels are, you have to put the people who care the most at the front. Just like if you're teaching a classroom and you have the emotional little kid, you have to kind of make them feel important and more special because they're going to get mad over anything. And you want to save yourself the headache rather than be truthful and honest and deal with it. A lot of people can't handle the truth and whatever your truth is about the situation. So you might as well just put it to the side, let it slide, don't say nothing, and just keep it moving. Had the situation in the past where I'm trying to be honest with people and let them know what's up. But people don't really want you to be honest with them. They want you to lie to them and coddle them and breastfeed them baby milk because they don't want to face the music. That's exactly what the situation is right here. But he just didn't recognize that. So now he has to decide which two people he will send to the vault, and he can pick himself. Most people do not want to go into the vault. So he's thinking and thinking. He eventually decides to pick Bryce and Gasper. He thinks Gasper is going to put his emotions aside to be able to make a decision. And Bryce was canceled out last time because he didn't get his vote. And he trusts him to make the right decisions. So, interesting take. He sees everyone's reactions at this point when he puts them in the line. So he's like, well, I pissed some people off, so I can't have the ones pissed off at me going in there because then it's my ass. So let me put two people who seem to be in the middle, even keel, and send them in there. Understandable. But he wouldn't have had to do that decision if he would have just caught, laid down his sword in the first place. But it's too late at this point, and I think that's the best decision he could have made at this point. Tolu is mad at Jake because he acknowledged that Bryce got his powers taken away, but didn't acknowledge that she got her powers taken away. I understand. I know why she's upset, but let's just stop play victim. Like, I'm mad because you didn't say this about me, but you said it about this person. It's not a direct shot. I don't think it was anything malicious or intentional. That's like, getting everyone drinks and forgetting one person's drink order. You didn't do it intentionally. You just forgot their drink order. I can go back and get it. Or I'm sorry, it wasn't on purpose. But then they're holding a grudge on you the rest of the night. I get it. It would seem like you're being slighted. But just still talk to him and see what's up. That's all you got to do is just talk to him. You guys live in the same house. Bryce is not excited about going into vaults. Lindsay says, oh, let's send the most vanilla people out here who are playing Switzerland into the vault to make a decision, sarcastically. She's right, but what else is he going to do? Send you in there? You can't do that, coach. He's making a business decision right now. So Bryce and Gasper go into the vault. So they get the two offers. The first offer is you can take $5,000 out of the trust for yourself, but you have to cast a vote for the same person at the next trust ceremony. Interesting. $5,000. Cast a vote, and you have to vote somebody out. That's tough as well because you're getting along. You're trying to split this money. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. And with them too, they're middlemen. I can see why they don't pick that option. Offer two, you can choose to protect one person from elimination at the next trust ceremony, but $10,000 will be subtracted from the trust. Depending on everyone's individuals, I guess their specific individual relationships with everyone, you take offer two, but I think this is what you do. If you really care about everyone and you want everyone to get money, take offer two. Go ahead. But just lie to them about what exactly the rules were. Instead of saying the exact offer of what it was, you can change it to whatever you want. So you can say, instead of choosing one person from a list of elimination to protect from elimination, but 10,000 will be subtracted from the trust, say you couldn't protect any, say, I would have said, we can protect this person and this person. I don't know, coach. You can make something up. I on the spot. They were in there for hours. So if you could think of something, I mean, say offer one, they take $5,000 to the trust, but you have to cast a vote. Say everyone would have had to cast a vote if we would have took the $5,000 out. Then somebody's for sure is going home. So we definitely didn't want to do that. So put the onus on everyone, not just you two. So then made it seem like offer two was the only option to pick because at that option, there was a guarantee that no one had a chance of going home. Offer one, it was a guarantee that somebody was going home. Simple as that. If you want to protect people, if you don't care about it, then just pick off for one and take the money and vote somebody out. But everyone's playing with a lot of integrity in this game. A lot. I guess that's why it's called the trust. Bryce says he's not here. Bryce says he's here for the experience and not the cash. Red flag, red flag. You're here for the experience and not the cash. Look, the experience is dope, I'm sure. But bro, you got money. You can do this literally whenever you want. You are a millionaire at 22. You don't have kids. You're not married. You probably don't have a mortgage to pay. You might still live with your parents. You're living in an apartment. You've been rich your whole life. What do you mean? You can go on Disney Cruise Line, Princess Cruise Lines, Carnival Cruise Lines, Seabourn Cruise Lines, Norwegian Cruise. You can do whatever you want. You can buy this experience, but buy the beach house per se. You probably buy the whole island. Your family can. Like you could rent out the house and hire people to come serve y'all food like this. You got that much money, coach. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not rich like that, so I don't know that point of view. I'm just speaking from a non-rich person's point of view because that's all I got. Simone is talking to Jake and asking him to please keep them on track because he's the only one that can do that. Jay is calling Jake a misogynist. Look, I can see how the women think this way because they're already going in this with a certain mindset of men. They're making this a women's alliance. They think all men's a piece of shit. They think the women have to stick together because the men will take them apart, when that's not even the case. But a misogynist, really? When he said nothing derogatory towards women and nothing horrible to you in particular, but just because he put certain people in line orders based on smartest or smartest to least smartest, when it really had no major implications. But you guys are making these implications and making your own rules to everything. If it was up to you, you probably would put all the women first. Why don't somebody ask you, hey, what was your list order would have been? It probably would have been all women at the front. Then are you a misogynist? Doesn't make sense. She's since they're calling all the women, yeah, since he put all the women in the back of the lines. Tolu says, why does everything about me have to be I'm black and African and I'm African? She starts getting upset because every time Jake refers to her, it's my African queen, and she feels like she's being labeled basically Miss Africa and not making her enjoy the experience. Huh? Girl, hold on. Time out. Time out. Time out. Time out. You're getting upset because this dude is playing respect to you, saying my African queen, uplifting you, saying words of positivity and affirmation. And then you feel like he's labeling you when you're the one wearing African earrings, you're wearing an African based dress, you're from Africa. You said you were from Nigeria. Oh, yeah, she also said, I'm not from Africa, I'm from Nigeria. Last time that I checked, wasn't Nigeria in the set? Wasn't Nigeria in the same continent? Last time that I checked, wasn't you wanting to be respected? Wasn't you wanting to put at the head of things? But now, this time that I checked, you're playing the victim. You playing the victim. You crying every 2 seconds because this dude is giving you compliments and now, well, he's calling me African too much. I don't like that. Huh? What would you rather have him call you? If he treated you like a normal person, he's not treating me with respect. If he ignored you, he's not talking to me at all. You're just finding reasons to be mad at this point. Stop it. Why? This is the problem. This is the big problem. Some people just find reason to get mad over nothing. You're looking for things, and when you start looking for things, you don't get an egg on your face, and unfortunately, you're gonna be mad for the rest of your life. When instead of just taking the things that people say and not thinking of them to be negative, not thinking of them to be attacking towards you. Nobody's coming for you. He's treating you with the respect that you wish that you could get back at home, but now that I don't know, a white guy's doing it, you feel some type of way? That makes no sense. You're you're making no sense, and you're making a lot of black women setting black women back. This is the most asinine thing I think I've ever heard. One of the asinine things I've ever heard in my life. You're upset because he's praising you. And that's not your identity. But if you would probably identify Brian as a cowboy and as a rancher, that's probably all you see him as. What do you see? What else do you see Brian as? Tell me that. What else do you see Jake outside of an army fit white guy? You know, especially when when you're parading around in these African looking gowns. You have African earrings on. You have a necklace of Africa around your neck. What is anybody else supposed to think if that's all you're giving them? If a woman is dressed up in pink all day, I'm gonna assume, and she loves Barbie and she has Barbie tattoos and Barbie lip gloss and Barbie hairstyle and a Barbie dress. I'm gonna like, oh hey Miss Barbie, oh why you call me Barbie? Because that's what you're presenting yourself as. Am I missing something here? It doesn't make sense. Problematic. Problematic to the highest degree. People don't play victim. Don't look for reason to be mad at people because it's not gonna do anything but just make your life miserable and a wreck and make you just mad at the world. Why do you want to be mad at the world? Why are you? What benefit does that do for you, for your family, for your friends? You just want attention. You just want attention. That's all it is. Egotistical and want attention. So that is, I'm done. I'm done at this point. I'm done. Goodness. And yes, and she also says, and if that means she has to take him out of this experience, she'll do that. Jesus. Jay also says she's over Jake. Jay, she's a whole nother type of. She's a whole nother type. She's a whole nother type. Like just getting mad over nothing. Just literally just finding reasons to get mad. Looking for them under the couch, under the sofa, in the bed sheets, behind the kitchen table. Like just looking around. Shut up, please. Julie is also upset at Jake because he put people over her. They have a close relationship at this point, Julie. I think she just. I see why she's mad. Like, look, y'all perceived boyfriend, girlfriend at this point from the outside perspective. But maybe he thought what I was saying earlier. Oh, she's going to be cool with this because we're tight. She knows we're tight. And she seemed to not be that mad during the ceremony. So like she was like laughing through it. I can put you in the back and you'll be cool with it. So I don't think she's really mad, but maybe she's just projecting a little bit. But I don't think she doesn't seem like she's like truly upset. He says Jake said he only had 10 seconds to make the decision, so it made it seem like there was a time limit given to him, like I mentioned earlier. Jake says he cares about Julie and he's sorry that he hurt her feelings and he would never get rid of her, so he can reconcile with her and makes her feel good about herself, which he should have did with at the time being. But hey, look, better late than never. He does what he needs to do. He recognizes how he made somebody else feel, and he's good at doing that. Jake is good at seeing how some people are feeling after the fact and like recognizing that real quick and let me go fix this mess up real quick. Let me go fix this mess up real quick. He's checking himself and that's really good at him doing that. It's very difficult to do because he's dropping his ego in those points. So when he does that, it shows me like, oh, he has the ability to drop his ego and pride to a sense of other people's conformity. It's just he just was a little late with it. But him doing that is like huge because a lot of people can't do that at all. That's a very difficult thing to do for a lot of folks. She says having a good relationship with Jake is to her benefit, so she can't lose sight of the strategy behind the game, and she's going to try and not be so emotional. She says, as unloyal and untrustworthy as he's been, she would never send him home. Lindsay feels upset in the bathroom and feels taken advantage of. She said she feels attacked because Jake put her last. Jake says it's absurd. Jake walks in soon as she's talking to Brian. And he says it's absurd that people are getting so distraught and so emotional over something so meaningless when they already have money in their pockets. And then Lindsay and Jake get into this verbal disagreement. And she ain't having it. The top is popped off the cork and champagne is flowing overboard, whatnot. And it's like a parade going on with just the things that she's yelling at him and saying. And she's not having it. Lindsay seems to be the most emotional one. I mean, so you have Lindsay mad at Jake, you got Tolu mad at Jake, you got Julie kind of mad at Jake, you got Jay mad at Jake because of this whole line ordeal. But they're pushing it because they wanted to be mad at him in the first place. They wanted to find a reason to like we can't wait for this guy to get us upset for whatever reason. It could have been he didn't say good morning and we're gonna get on him for it. Y'all just gotta relax, take a deep breath. Because it's a lot at this point. I mean, everyone is mad at this dude because of this line situation. Jake, what he should have did, which I don't know if he did or not. What would you would have done? What list would you would have done? And if they said that doesn't matter, well, there's your answer right there. If you say it doesn't matter, then why are you coming to me? Why does it matter? It's just a lot. It's just a lot. Like I feel for this man at this point because he's just getting bombarded and jumped and stomped out in the schoolyard. And I thought Joel's got stomped out in the schoolyard. Well, he's next one getting stomped out. And stomps ain't easing up. She runs out of the bathroom saying, "Don't ask me about my family," which is kind of a lot. Gasper and Bryce walk back in from the vault, and everyone's kind of quiet towards them. They've been in there for hours and whatnot. So they bring everyone to the couch and tell them the offers. They said they turned down option one, which was what we explained earlier, to take them $5,000, but they took option two to have $10,000 be taken out of the trust and give one person immunity. And so everyone's sweating right now, like, I hope I get picked. I hope I get picked. Jake is really hoping he gets picked because he's like, I just got bombarded and jumped, and I need some Band-Aids. I need the Pokemon Center to revive me back to health, coach. And they pick Julie. They picked Julie because she didn't. Why did they pick Julie? I can't remember why they picked Julie, but they picked Julie. And I think the stories they told her and whatnot, she she had a rough day with, telling everybody what her upbringing was and whatnot. And Lindsay is trying to make it through the meeting without talking or she's going to expose herself. So she's trying to zip it tight. She got the straight jacket on. Like, don't say nothing, coach. They won't take me back to the ward. Jay said she felt like she was being dismissed and felt like he was being a misogynist and that Jake kept putting himself at the top of the list saying, I'm the smartest of the leader and all the reasons of why he was at the front of the list. That's a little much from thinking these things. Like I said, you're finding reason to get mad instead of listening and trying to put yourself in their shoes. Little much of me. And then Jay starts pretty much yelling and going off at him. So Jay, you need to calm down. You need to calm down. You have the most life experience out of anyone in here. You should be the wise one in the group, and honestly, the smartest one in the group in Revolve in the terms of understanding why everyone's feeling what they're feeling, understanding the situation at hand. And she just doesn't. She just is stuck in a way that a train of thought that cannot be switched, cannot be changed. And it's kind of, it's very telling. It's very telling to see someone so stuck in a way and just can't have their decision changed no matter what is said. That's very telling. Jake says if anyone thinks they should have been at the front, they could have just told it to his face and he would have done it. But there's a flashback of Julie saying that when he should be that she should be in the front to him when they're in line and he doesn't move. She did say that, coach. It was on camera. It's on camera. She didn't bluntly say it like, I think I should be in the front. It was like a different way she said it, but she still said it, and Jake wasn't having it in the moment. So that's on you, Jake. You gotta take that one. You gotta take that bullet. You should like I said, you should have got let the people who you didn't think that was in front like Bryce did, but I digress. Jay and then Simone soon backs up Jake, and what he's saying is like, look, I'm not upset with Jake. Everyone else can be, but I stand by what he did. And that's fine for have that opinion. And Jay gets so mad over this. She's like, I can't believe she's backing him up. What is she doing? She's betraying us. Are people, if people don't agree with you, does that mean that they're evil in your eyes and whatever you say goes and they can't have their own opinions? Does that make them a bad person if they don't follow everything you do and say? Hmm, is that how this is supposed to work? We're just supposed to, no, if I'm not going to agree with her. This isn't going to agree with what Jay says. We have to agree with her or else she's going to get mad. That's how you think. People are allowed to have their own opinions. And being an older person, you should understand people can have many different opinions, and it's okay to be cool with someone just because they like a different football team, because they don't like the same food, because they voted for someone different, because of many reasons. And you're using that to attack them? Stop it. Stop it. And that's where our episode ends. You get a cliffhanger at that point, and it's getting hostile in this house. No Diana Ross settings. This is not their house. This episode was a lot. It was really, it opened up the game a lot. After Jules left, people really started chiming in on, I think, personal insecurities that they might have and whatnot. And definitely it was troubling to see a lot of it. But at the end of the day, I give everyone chances to fix, kind of the image that they're portraying at this point. There's not been any dire stakes to where you had to vote someone out at this point. It's kind of just your own mental thoughts of what you're perceiving somebody else as. That's why you're doing what you're doing and why you're thinking what you're thinking. So hopefully people's mental come back down and they can really see what's going on and open their eyes up. They can see clearly now the rain is gone style, but everyone's eyes are fogged up right now. It's been raining heavily for about 30 days and 30 nights up in here. Yeah, crazy, y'all. But thank you guys for joining me for the Trust episode 2 recap. We will get to episode 3 and 4 very soon. And yeah, let me know what you thought of episode 2. We getting through it. And yeah, y'all, appreciate you joining me. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and be a member. Me Member has exclusive perks, put out a customized video every single week, some behind the scenes footage, going to the Traders party next Thursday or Friday, whenever it is, the premiere party. Gonna have some cool behind the scenes with some of the cast, and it's gonna be lit. So if you want to see those things, you gotta be a member. It's cheap. It's only $5 a month to help support me and the channel grow. Thank you so much if you do that. If you've already done it, I'm with you forever. You a real one. And we gonna keep this train moving, y'all. I love it. And definitely looking forward to the next episode. Till next time, peace and blessings. Thank you for joining the DeAndre Way, and you have a great day.